Spring on the Olympic Peninsula means the air is alive as bees dart back and forth pollinating the mini crop. The wind carries the lovely aromas of the many flowers already in bloom. Lavender season is here, and we await the return of the Sequim Lavender Weekend in July. This time, Eric and Jeff will be looking back as they look forward to the lavender festivities. We reconnect with the Olsons at Lavender Connection, who gave us a grand tour and a great time. Then we'll show you how you can make your own connection with Sequim's lavender farmers, artisans, merchants, and friends. Join us for the Sequim Lavender season.
What a beautiful day on the Olympic Peninsula. I mean, if you go that way 4 miles, you're in the ocean. But it is hot as hell today.
Well, I understood watching the news this morning before I left the house that it's supposed to be 81, it was 81 at 7:30
In Sequim.
in Sequim.
This is not the Washington that I'm used to.
Oh, for me.
Man, I am so glad to see the Olsons here. You guys, thank you so much for having us.
Yes,
I
you're
love this
welcome.
place.
Nice to see you again. Hello.
Nice to meet you guys.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
This is a beautiful place. I'm telling you, I think there's probably a lot of hard work that goes into making this place so beautiful.
You would be correct.
How many acres is this?
There's 5.5 acres on this property. We have about 2 to 3 acres that is actually lavender plants. That's planted
Cool.
lavender right
Cool.
You
now.
have a lot of varieties of lavender.
Yes,
I mean,
we do. Would you like to see some of them?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so let's go out to the fields here.
Lavender is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, look at those shades of purple. Man.
It's really amazing. It's such a versatile herb. You know, you can eat it, you can smell it, you can use it for antibacterial, you can use it for cleaning.
Antidepressant,
Yeah.
anti-stress. I mean,
Yeah.
when I started researching it, I'm like, wow.
It's kind of a miracle herb.
It really is.
So this field, this is our newest field. So these plants are all about 3 years old. I propagated them. I learned how to propagate. It's a funny story. So this variety is the 19th row of this field, which was planted when my parents bought the property. And it was mislabeled. It was labeled the wrong species. They could tell that it wasn't labeled correctly. So we just always called it row 19 because it was the 19th row.
I like it.
And it turned out to be our absolute favorite oil. And we've had people come in, we've had several people come in, and they can't positively identify which species it is, or sorry, which variety it is. So there was no way to replace it when the plants were going to get old enough to die. So I had to learn to propagate and make an entire field of it. But we have a field now of row 19. But we one of the things that makes us unique is that we have so many different varietals of lavender. So yeah, we try to keep them pure.
So maybe 35, 36?
Well, we distill.
We distill
18.
probably about 20 different varieties at different times. But we have a total of about 35 different varieties on the farm, and we've just added 3 or 4
We added
different.
4. Actually, right now we're up to 48 if you count the single ones that we just planted. We have a new viewing garden where we're going to have little single varieties. But out in the fields, I think it's right around 40.
Well, let's look at row 19.
Yeah, let's go look at row 19. Well, here's row 19 in a field. So one of the things that I like to talk to people about is the difference between the 2 primary species that we have on the farm, and it's a good way to introduce. So we have Intermedia and Angustifolia. If you look at the difference between the flowers and how they grow on the stems.
It's one cluster is one long stem. Wow.
So you'll notice, and the flowers actually mimic the way the plants grow. So this one is long and slender, and it tends to get long and slender
and this
buds.
is more compact.
And this is more compact. And these bushes are long and slender, and these bushes tend to stay more compact. So visually, those are primary differences. You can't trust color because lavender comes in so many different colors in many different species. So that's not a good way to tell the difference.
And like you told me a moment ago, this isn't fully blooming, so the color is different than it will be in full bloom.
The pink ones, specifically, yeah. The pinks tend to get a little bit pinker the more petals that you see on the bloom. And then the other thing that's really fun to do is I kind of squish this up so you can smell. So this is the intermediate smell.
Oh.
Oh,
Smell
wow.
that? So that is the traditional scent that most people equate with lavender. And my dad will take you through the aromatic tasting where you can smell it more specifically with different oils. But that is an intermediate, and then smell the angustifolia right afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
So it's completely
I see why you like that one.
different. Yeah,
Totally
Totally
different.
different.
a lot
Totally different.
sweeter. It doesn't have the camphor-based notes.
But
in
it doesn't
that the
have a
intermediate-
sugar sweet. It's got more of a
It's more floral sweet.
floral sweet.
Floral, yeah.
I guess that
Yeah,
would make
so
sense.
yeah. But yeah, so that's one of the primary differences between the plants and the oils themselves, is that the intermediate oils have more camphor in them. That's the scent that most people associate with lavender. This is the one that is used in Bath and Body products. This one is a little bit more expensive to produce.
Medicinal?
No, it's more expensive to produce because the plants themselves don't produce as much oil. So that's my theory about why this is the one that isn't really used in Bath and Body, because it's more expensive
That would
to
make
buy.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of sense.
This would be an oil that you could use for cooking, though we recommend not using the oil in cooking because it's so intense. But you could, because it doesn't have that bitter camphorous afternote.
I see. I like it.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get to the aroma tasting.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to head into the barn for the aromatic tasting, but I just wanted to let you guys know that this isn't where we normally have our tastings. It's just that it's so hot out today.
Thank
We
goodness.
thought that it would be a nice cool place for you guys.
Well,
and you
barns
could
are
enjoy
cool
it more.
anyway.
All
All right, well, let's go on in. This is so exciting. I can't wait.
Most people, when they come in to do the aroma tasting or the fragrance tasting, they come in and they smell with their mouth closed. I would recommend that you not do that. Enjoy your fragrance of the lavender oils with your mouth open, because a lot of people in the public don't realize that your taste buds are about 50% of what your nose smells and your brain compiles as a fragrance. And if you close off your mouth, you only get part of that fragrance notes. So it may be an interesting test on an individual basis to smell it with your mouth lips closed, and then enjoy it with breathing in the entire fragrance through both your mouth and your nose.
Nice.
So let's get started. We'll start with one of our row 19. We talked a lot about.
I love row 19 already.
Row 19 again is an intermedia. As was explained earlier, the intermedia oils do have a little bit more camphor note to that.
I can smell it from here.
Quality to it that I really like. It's a non-sweet, a savory almost component. I don't know why I thought lavender would be all sweet smelling like old ladies, but maybe it was that movie Lavender and Old Lace. I don't know. But this is beautiful.
Oh, man.
I would love having my house smell like that.
Can you smell the camphor note in that?
Yeah,
by any chance?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and can you experience the difference by having your
Mouth open
and closed?
We do a lot of tasting.
I understand.
And I have a hard time
You're
keeping
an
my mouth shut.
experienced audience as opposed to maybe some of the people that might be listening
Absolutely.
that are not quite in tune with that.
Yeah.
Hit coat pink is an angustifolia. So you will be able to compare that in relation to the two against each other.
Thank you. My goodness.
And it's really interesting too, because now you guys have smelled it right off the bud, and you can actually probably
Oh,
now start to
wow.
smell some differences between
Oh, quite different
the
between the
bud,
two.
smelling it right off the flower, and when it's really intense as an essential oil.
The thing is, the essential oil is not less, it's more. It's just more concentrated, but you don't lose anything. I mean,
No.
everything I noticed out there is more here.
Yeah.
It's so concentrated in the oil.
Yeah.
Well, how do you make essential oils?
Essential oils often are referred to as a distillation process, although that is actually maybe a
Number.
quote, because there is no distillation of the product itself in the true sense of distillation from my understanding. It's really what I refer to as is oil extraction or steam extraction.
Steam extraction, yeah.
And we use a still, which people relate with distilling products, but
One of my favorite pieces of equipment.
yes, but that piece of equipment here is just used to generate the steam to pass through. So I'll show you on this smaller still. We used this when we first started out in 2004 and 2005. This is a hammered still imported from overseas. Basically, we've got the small pot that it normally sits on a fire burner, a propane burner, and we fill the inside with the lavender stem, and maybe a little bit shorter than this typically, but not too much shorter, maybe 3 to 5 inches on angustifolias. On the intermediate stems, which are longer and the buds are spread out farther on there, we end up having to be longer stems. But we pack that in horizontally inside on top of a little screen that keeps the plant out of the water.
But so there is water in the bottom to create the steam. Yeah.
We put in about 3 quarts of water in the bottom of this unit here, and then we put the lid on there and we seal up with a little bit of Teflon tape around the outside just to help it. You can do it without it, but it's best to seal it off in both locations. In this pot here is our cooling water. We use this for cooling and extraction. There's this copper tube that starts here, actually coils down like a snake and continues until it pokes out the side here. And then what we end up doing is bringing water to a boil. Steam passes through the lavender. It heats the lavender up to higher than the temperature of the oil vaporization. So basically the oil is vaporized out of the plants, and the two vapors, steam and oil vapor, commingle. They don't combine, but they commingle and are carried up together through this tube here and directed into our condensation bath here. We put the cold water, we add cold water in here and continually drip cold water in here. As the steam and oil vapors go through the coil, they extract the heat out of those vapors and condense them back into liquid form. And we have 2 products coming out of the unit here. One is what we call the essential oil, which is the condensed lavender oil, and the second is called hydrosol, or a water solution. And basically it's the soluble elements of the lavender that are extracted by the process and then retain and remain within the water itself. So that hydrosol is a second product, and it has its own set of benefits, but not a direct fragrance relationship to the oil, because it isn't the same oil. That's in a nutshell what the process is.
Nice explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hear that we have honey on the premise.
We have honey.
We do.
Let's go.
All right, so this is a new product, just started last winter time. A friend of mine named Noelle started a bakery in Bainbridge called Tolo Sourdough. We do not have a culinary kitchen at the farm, and so because she has all of the licensing, we started working with her to create a product line of culinary treats. And so the first thing that she came up with are these lavender shortbread cookies, and it is using our lavender only. She only uses our lavender in our products.
Does she use essential oils or just
lavender bud? And you can see when I pull this out here. So there you go. There's a cookie.
It was hard to hand that away.
Yeah, there you go. So these are obviously very freshly made, and they're all natural. So it's flour, sugar, butter, lavender, salt.
My favorite way.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really like about the shortbread cookies is because there's, it's just sweet and salty and lavender. You can really taste the lavender. It's not. You're not pairing it. Lavender does taste good with chocolate. It tastes great with lemon. It tastes good with berries. But the shortbread is the most simple. It's really just.
Well, it shows it beautifully.
And it looks lovely.
It really does. This is an amazing cookie. I'll take a dozen. This is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, how did this all begin? It's so beautiful now, but was it when you got here?
Well, yes. So my parents decided that they wanted to try lavender farming, and they found this property back in 2003. And that backfield that we walked around in, that had already been planted. Nice. There were some other plants out here that we have since taken down and redone and rebuilt, and we have added significantly more plants. But that backfield was started, and this barn, which is a historic dairy barn, was here, but it was in significant need of repair.
I was going to say, that roof looks awfully fresh. You wouldn't know anything about this, would you?
Yeah, so 2 years ago we got a grant from the Historical Society to renovate the barn because it was pretty much on the verge of collapse. And so we did some pretty significant structural repairs inside. We had to raise the central posts because the roof was sagging significantly.
Whoa.
And there were leaks everywhere. We had to replace a lot of beams, a lot of rafters, a lot of the skip sheeting, and then all of the cedar shakes the entire roof.
I can't imagine how hard that must have been.
It was many months. It was the good part of a year when you include all of the structural and the roofing. And it's a pretty steep roof to be up on all day long.
Well, I think the important thing to point out is that Doug did the work. It's not like he had a crew of people. Every single one of those shingles was put on.
I am very impressed. I've done a little bit of that, and oh my goodness.
Yeah. Rick and I did the interior structural stuff together, and then I did the roof, and one of the cupolas had blown away years before, so I had to rebuild
one of the cupolas?
One of the cupola on the right is rebuilt, and the one on the left had to be repaired. So yeah,
nice
big
work,
project.
I might point out that all the siding inside the store that you saw, that if you can recall back to that, all the wallboard in there is old skip sheeting that we pulled off of the underside of all this. So it's part of the ambiance of
it is
storage.
Good ambiance. I mean, and people pay high dollar for barn work. Well, I hear that this is not your only function here.
Yeah.
You are a man of bees.
You want to check out the bees?
I do. Let's go.
Let's go. Take a frame out so you can have a peek at what it looks like, where the honey comes from. And they're pretty gentle as long as you just go slow and steady.
That's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. I just love the perfection of the octane.
Yeah, so this is really beautiful comb, newly drawn because they're just starting to get the nectar flow.
That's honey, yes?
Yeah, so you can see up at the top of the frame, the white, that's completed honey.
So it's sealed by
they've sealed it with wax because it's ready. And then all the stuff that's glistening is nectar that they've brought in, but it's still too moist to be honey. It hasn't really become honey yet. So they have to spend some time drying it out. And when it's ready, they'll cap it. And when that happens, I'll extract it. So I have a frame of mostly capped honey, so I can take you over and extract that and show you how that process works.
Yeah.
So this is the extractor, and we're going to take a frame that I pulled from the hive that has mostly capped honey.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is use the capping knife and just go down the frame and just cut the wax off, because you can't extract it if the wax is on. That's the bees put that on to seal it.
Right.
So you've got to remove that. You just cut that on down. Kind of beautiful how it comes off, huh?
It really is.
So then side two, we just go down.
So in the hives, how many of these screens?
There's 10 frames per box, and you start out with just one box, and then as the colony grows bigger and bigger, you just keep adding boxes. And normally by the end of summer you might have, say, 3, maybe 4 boxes, so you could have like 40 frames.
Wow.
So we'll call that good enough for now. Crazy. And then it'll go in the extractor, and this just uses centrifugal force. So we're just going to spin it, and all of the honey is going to shoot out to the side walls, and then it's just going to drip down to the bottom, and we'll collect it.
Nice. I imagine if you tried to use heat to melt the wax, it'd destroy the flavor of the honey.
Yeah, it's best to not heat honey. Make sure this is closed. So yeah, we're just gonna, it's a little bit uneven because I'm only doing 1 frame. Normally you extract 4 frames at a time, and the weight is well, more balanced. So you just give it a little spin. Let's see how that did. And then after you do the first, so now the outside of the frame has been mostly extracted. So now we'll turn it around so we can get the other side of the frame.
That smells really good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's as fresh as it gets. So you just do the same thing. That's probably about all it's going to take. So this isn't going to yield a ton of honey, but just to show you how it works.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a chance to taste such fresh honey. This is beautiful.
It amazes me.
Oh my God.
Just took a little bit.
Yeah,
A couple cranks.
couple of cranks. You've got a couple bottles worth of honey here. Yeah.
I didn't double dip. And you could taste lavender.
Yeah,
Subtly.
it's got a nice floral note.
Beautiful floral.
Okay. I want
It's
to dip.
not as heavy as I thought it might be. Oh gosh, that's
Yeah, lavender
incredibly
honey
good.
is fairly light. Yeah.
So if some of our viewers wanted to order this online, they would go to lavenderconnections.com.
Lavenderconnection.com. We do have an online store, although the honey is not available online.
They have to come
They
here.
have to come here. We save it for the customers that make their way all the way out
There's
to
only
the farm.
so much to go around.
There's only so much to go around, and the people who come here and they see the fields and they become friends with the bees and they get excited about our hives. They're the people who we feel like should get to buy the honey.
I like it. You heard that, viewers. Come on down. And you're open for visitation on weekend?
We are open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We are open from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. No reservation is required, and it's free to visit, so you just stop on by.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks
thank
for
really
you.
had an
Thank
incredible
you so
time.
much. This was really fun.
You guys
Our
are
pleasure.
amazing.
A lot of fun.
Great.
And a lot of good information.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Hey, don't be buzzing off so soon. You've got wings, we've got swing, and a lot more Sequim Lavender news. You'll be in good hands with the Sequim Lavender experience. They have a map of all the farms and merchants. Yeah, you can tour Sequim's farms as well as the shops.
Lavender. It's one of the premier reasons to visit the Sequim Valley on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State.
They also have an audio tour app. This free guided tour tells the story of Sequim and its lavender farms. The app is free, and you can download it at the Lavender Experience website.
This lavender farm audio tour was created so that people like you can discover what makes each individual farm unique. The families, the history, and the products are what make the Sequim Lavender Farm experiences wonderfully special in their own way.
The lovely lavender people of Sequim will do all they can to make sure you have a lovely lavender holiday.
This is where grape wine starts, in the vineyard. The coastal appellation of Washington State is difficult to grow grapes as well as, say, in California or in Walla Walla. I mean, these vines are 9 to 10 years old. They're not quite as big, but they struggle for every ounce of flavor. It seems like the harder it is for a vine to grow, the better the wine comes out in the end. Making sure that you get small yields, take care of the grapes. All year they grow, then they work their way into the fermentation vats and such. By having control over every bit of the process, James produces an extraordinary wine.